How's it going, guys? My name is Splattercat, and welcome back to episode number 2 of our Warlock, Master of the Arcane playthrough. I was really stoked to see your comments. I was really excited to see the interest in this series, actually, so it's very, very easy for me to maintain momentum on this playthrough. So where we had left off, let's just do a little recap. We had built ourselves this city right here with the purpose of getting these pigs and also getting this iron, and maybe these pigs. I'm not sure who it's going to assign these pigs to. Quite possibly this one will get it first. I think at level, actually this is about to level up, so this may expand one more time, and in that case we will end up with pigs going to this city. Now, in terms of our diplomacy, let's talk about how things are going with our diplomacy. So we've got this little neutral territory over here. We've got this guy over here who's just being a big jerk face and just declared war on us for no apparent reason. I know that that's a running trend in this game. I've noticed that for whatever reason the AI seems to be like, F you all the time, and they seem to just lose their temper and not play intelligently. Declaring war right now doesn't seem to be the best plan. It's not the worst plan either. Him declaring war, nothing's really going to happen. I don't have enough troops to take him out, and he doesn't have enough troops to take me out, so it's kind of one of those Cold War type deals where it's just like, I don't like you, you don't like me, let's declare war on paper so that it'll be official. Now, this place over here also needs to go, but I'm interested to see what faction this is going to be right here. This is a great mage's borders, and we don't know what faction he is at the moment. Over here we've got undead, undead, undead. It would be really strange if we got another undead army. If this just turned into basically the living versus the dead, it would be kind of an interesting playthrough. But with the recap completed, let's continue scouting down here with our rogues. And so we'll take a step in this direction just to grab a little bit of gold there. Alright, and so we've got some plains down here, although this one's a little strange. I think that's like a frosted plain or something. I prefer my plains unfrosted. I prefer my plains plain, I guess. Plain original, plain classic with high fructose corn syrup. Now, let's send some troops up into, well, do I have anything training right here? I don't. So let's get another gaggle of warriors going. Actually, let's put 2. Let's get 2 on the books just to make sure that something is going. We're going to get, this place is going to upgrade next turn, but I do owe you guys naming of the towns. So one that I noticed is the moon. So we're going to go with the moon because that actually made me laugh. The person that proposed that actually got a giggle out of me because it's just such a strange, the moon's, never mind, there we go. And so destroy the city. No, absolutely not. And there we are. So this is now, god damn it, the moon. There. Be the moon. And so we'll close the city view there. And so now we rule from the center of the moon. And this one down here, I actually liked the suggestion that we use one of the names from one of our playthroughs. But I'm going to go with Mount... Actually, no, not Mount Worthless, because this one is not on a mountain. We'll just go with Boo, as was suggested. So there we are. So now we have Boo, all taken care of right there. We have the city of Boo and the moon. And now let's take a look over to the left. So we've got a little bit of time before we're going to have enough of an army to wipe out this jerk face over here. And so let's step this way and up a mountain, and that's going to be as far as they can go, and then we'll send them over to there. And we're going to have them roll together. We're going to use the buddy system here because we don't want to end up with our troops getting jumped by monsters or anything like that. Neutral forces in this game have a very strange tendency to jump you en masse when you go out by yourself. So you want to explore slowly, you want to explore carefully, one step at a time. I'm going to leave the archers here in town just so that I have something to defend myself with in case anybody shows up. Because most of our enemies turn out to be undead, it's not going to be much help to us to have archers, but it's a little bit of damage. It's a little bit extra. And so with everything taken care of, with the context of this turn, let's just roll it on over to the next turn. And I don't really think anything's gonna happen, but we'll just, ooh, we got a pumpkin patch over here. Now if I was the, I believe, monsters, I would be just sprinting for this right now because it gives you a building that gives you a universal buff on your troops. It just makes them more aggressive and more awesome. We don't really have that. I don't know what humans get from pumpkin patches, so it's definitely worth investigating. I may plant a city right here once we get this training queue taken care of, unless somebody snipes it before I do. Now, we are out of movement for our scouts, so we'll leave them as is. We'll come up here, and as we were doing before, we'll move them forward 2 spaces, them forward 2 spaces, and one more, and it's still not going to unlock for us. This is a spot that I would very much like too, because you see we have multiple silver mines out here. I would love to have a town like right here, because then I think we can get the magic node, and then we could also get both of the silvers, but that pretty much locks us into our course with this gentleman right here. With this lich over here, it's going to lock us into a warlike stature, or a warlike standpoint. There's not going to be really any reasoning with him if we put a city right here, so I'm going to waylay that. I'm just going to put a pin in it for the moment, and we're going to leave that off to the side. We'll table it, and let's see what building we can construct here. So this was going to be our production center, so I think what I'm going to do, that's going to cost us 5 gold per turn. So while I would like to put a barracks in right now, that would be what I would choose if I got to choose anything. I think what we're going to go to, our go-to thing that we're going to produce at the moment is, let's put in a Rangers Guild for the time being so that we can make more Rangers if we have to. I don't like where our money's at right now for building any major buildings like the barracks. The barracks is going to go through and it's going to make our troops drilled, which is not nearly as much fun as it sounds like. It's getting drilled in a different context. It's not the drilled that we would all hope for. Nope. It is actually... it is actually just going to make them much better in combat. So anyways, let's see here. Now, we get to level them up at the moment, and so let's see here. We can either give them marksman, which is plus 20% missile, which is going to make them a little stronger, but since we have so many undead, I think what I'm really going to focus on is, let's go with wide formation, which is going to make them more resistant to missile. So that, I mean, there's not really a whole lot. None of the upgrades with these gents, our merry men, none of our upgrades here are going to be even remotely useful because we're fighting so many undeads. Realistically, I should probably use them as scouts because they aren't going to really help us as defense anyways. So let's end this turn now. And some people like to play it very slowly.
It appears there is another great mage in these lands.
Okay, so there they are right there. He can't fire on us. Now, the difference between somebody that is an actual great mage and the difference between neutral territories is that the great mages will not attack you outright when they first see you. They actually have to declare war on you first. These neutrals can be giant, they can be dicks and just come attack you whenever they want. They really don't have to conform to the rules of the game. And this is going to be a temptation until I grab it, so I'm just going to steal that right now. Hey, we got a spell out of it. So Summon Ghost Wolves is one of my favorite spells in the whole game. They are amazing. Ghost Wolves are amazing scouts. They're amazing combatants, so I'm really stoked that we got a free spell from there. We also get a little bit of gold just to sweeten the pot, as it were. To add even further joyous occasion, we now have a new spell being researched, and Fireball is done. So now we can rain bolts of fiery fury on our foes. Just to be alliterative, once again, you know that I have a huge fondness for the alliteration, and let's choose a new spell for this turn now. We can choose melee resistance, or we can choose elemental resistance, and also the healing spell that we had from last turn. Raise the land, I'm not really sure how that would be used, so I'm going to steer away from it for the time being. I don't know how useful that would be. And then wind walking allows you to go through rough terrain without having to spend points. That's pretty cool. But I don't know if I want to do it just yet. I think I'm going to go with healing, just so we have a healing spell and a damage spell. Just diversify our repertoire, just to make ourselves a little bit more robust in terms of our options. And let's speed over here. Now, our goal to begin with was just to get them over here and take a look at this territory. And it looks like we're up against another undead, so we may have kind of a Lich King-esque World of Warcraft saga going on, where it's just going to be mostly humans versus undead. There should be one more Great Mage hidden around, but as it stands right now, we're in a pretty good spot because they can't diversify their troops to fight with us. So let's say that this gentleman right here defeated monsters. He would then have a whole new grouping of creatures that he could diversify his units with to fight us. Now, if we defeat undead, we can diversify. We'll have undead units and we'll have human units, so we'll have a larger stockpile to choose from, and I like that. I like that our table setting, as it were, is a lot better than what they have. And over here we have Gorgon wood. We don't want to be messing around with any Gorgon's wood, although Gorgons were females, weren't they? I thought Gorgons were females. I thought that's what, yeah, so Gorgons can't get wood. Never mind. That was a dumb joke, and I'm just going to ignore it. Let's converse with our new enemy.
What have we here? A great mage, I see.
With potions class. So Rajak is our new enemy, our new snapey-sounding foe. And let's level up a unit. So who leveled up? These guys right here? Good, 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 good. So let's take them, and these are the ones that we actually want to level up. So I'm going to make them focus all on melee for now. I'm going to go for a little berserker stance, do the opposite of what I normally do. My normal course would be to buff everybody up for just like crazy defense. But for right now, I lost my train of thought there. It actually was boarding at the station. It was not ready to go. The train was waylaid. There was a penny or somebody laying on the tracks, something ridiculous. It happens to me sometimes. Does that ever happen to you guys? Where you're chatting and then you just forget in the middle what the hell you were even talking about? It happens to me all the time, increasingly as I get older, I notice. But that's the last of the things we can do. One of the things I very much like about this game is that it tells you on the sidebar here all the tasks you have to take part in. Let's go to our diplomacy menu, and let's see if we can get ourselves... He's -9 with us. This is where you're going to spend a lot of your time. We're at war with King Lich, but not the most original name. And over here you can see that we have our relationship with the gods as well. I think everybody's going to be indifferent to us right now unless we've done anything intensely stupid, which I don't think we have. Usually it takes me at least a couple episodes to dig myself in up to my neck. So let's talk to Rajak and let's see what we can do with him. And I don't exactly remember how we bring up our chat. There it is, right there. Okay. So I'm going to say non-aggression pact. And I don't know if he accepted it or not. I think it sends it at the end of the turn. And so, did I already complete everything? Yeah, I think we're done. So let's start the next turn. And it looks like he's at war with these neutrals down here. Now that might give me a buffer zone for fighting with this guy over here. This is also going to spur him on in terms of expansion, so I can almost guarantee you with the way that the AI works, he's going to knock these guys off, he's going to put a town here, and it's teleporting me around to look at the stuff that's happening. And it looks like we're getting jumped by Ratmen with our scouts, so that sucks. But they are going to retreat, so when you lose a battle, they retreat if they survive, so that's nice, and you take the ground, the enemy takes the ground, or I take the ground if I had defeated them, that they would be standing on otherwise. And so he's over here firing off shadow bolts and things. Hopefully he doesn't shoot at us. Yep, he's going to. Alright, so let's go ahead and give ourselves some space from these guys. Let's just get away. And this is 2 different neutral cities, and that was actually an ill-planned move, because now I'm within firing range right here, although I think they're probably pinned to the walls right now because of Rajak. Let's see if he... Alright, so he actually accepted our non-aggression pact, so we're going to use that to our advantage at the moment. Let's bring our merry men back over to here, and they can get back to drinking and feasting and whatever it is that they do. Being merry, I guess. And let's draw all of our troops back to our capital now that we have an idea of what we're surrounded by. We also have completed building this grouping of soldiers, so I'm going to start lining everybody up. You always want to do this, just like with Civ. You want to line yourselves up along the town that you're going to be attacking. So Ryswich is going to be the next one that just gets mercilessly jumped. We're just going to dogpile. We are going to run a train on these guys, as it were. So they are just going to be ganged up on. It is going to be nasty. And so our offer has been accepted, which is good. And so let's end the turn now. And we'll see if we can get everybody lined up. I'm also going to bring the rogues with us since scouting is not going to work in our favor at the moment. So let's draw these guys. Can they make it this turn? Nope, they can't make it this turn. So our merry men, let's get them resting. We'll bring them up in the rear anyways. So it doesn't matter if they're caught up with everybody. They're going to be in the back lines, doing their thing, looking at everybody's booties, getting themselves all situated. And so, okay, so they haven't been completed yet. We're just going to hit the F key to put them on defense for the turn being. And we can now recruit hunters, so our building is completed. We've got about what I can assume is 6 turns till we level up there, so let's get some settlers going. And once those settlers are done, I like our money situation. I like to run through every now and again and just look at what I have producing. So we do have a food surplus still. Our gold is getting a little precarious, but Boo is going to be our gold production city, I think, or maybe our food production, because that's going to hit both. It's going to hit 2 birds with 1 stone. If we get a ton of food production going over here, it's going to end up giving us gold by just auxiliary anyways, so we'll just keep that going. And so once those settlers are done, we'll send them down here to snag this territory so that we can get the forest hills, the ancient ruins, and then also we can get this iron mine, this pig farm. I don't want to send them too far. I do want those pumpkins. I don't want to give the impression that I don't want those pumpkins. I very much want those pumpkins. I want them very, very badly. I have never wanted a pumpkin so bad in my life, which is not such a great thing because I don't really lust after pumpkins to begin with. So there was a thin grouping of race combatants anyways in that overall contest. So there we are.
Someone has humbly requested
And
your aid.
they are telling us I have a new quest, so they want me to fight with some monster-eating spiders. We're going to lose gold if we don't do that. He's my advisor, so I don't know why I can't just execute him. He's threatening me, and I don't like my advisors to threaten me, but he's saying he's going to take my money. He's extorting me, so maybe he knows something about my diddling off camera. Maybe he knows about my mistress. I have no idea. So let's head over to here with them, because they're going to aid in the assault as well Oh, those monsters are actually all up in our borders. They are just knee deep in us. So they smell like us up to the knee right now. And I don't think I can get them in close enough to fight this turn. We're just going to start lining up. Not too close, though, because we don't want to start taking bombardment from that city. And until all of the neutrals are off the board, I don't really see the point in focusing on other combatants. So he's resting. They should be resting. Fantastic. Everybody's resting. Everybody's doing their thing. Now, I don't think that these monsters can knock off our city with one attack. They will attack our city. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give them something else to focus on. So let's just bring them down into here. And you can see, I didn't point this out in the last episode, but you'll see that they have buffs. That's because of the blacksmith that we built over here. So they get resistance to melee, resistance to missile, and then they get further resistance there. So they have basic and fine armor. If we right-click, you can see here that they're actually taking a huge reduction in damage. The next thing that I'd like to build up here is a iron mine if we expand in time, or I'd like to get the drill done. I would like to get all of our troops nice and drilled so that they're in a good mood. Nothing puts a smile on people's face like a good drilling. So, well, I guess it depends whether you're on the receiving or the giving end of the drilling. Or, you know, I'm not going to go into that whole discussion because there's a lot of variables there. There's a lot of X's and Y's and Z's. Let's get them. Okay, so our new spell is done. Our Scottish friend, our Scottish advisor is telling us that. And let's bring our final troop here. And we'll bring the archers here as well. And I think we have a good enough troop density right now to invade next turn, so I'm going to keep that in mind. All these guys are going to flood into Rizewitch's borders, and we're just going to take them out mercilessly. Hopefully we get to it by the end of the turn. Now, this attack down here. Let's talk about what happened right here. So these monsters came in and attacked. You can see this little health bar has gone down a tad. When this reaches 0, the city has been fully sacked, and it becomes the possession of these spiders. So it'd be the first city ever to be ruled by spiders. Now, let's fire on them. And they didn't take my bait. I moved these warriors down here in the ridiculous hope that they would attack the warriors instead of my town. They didn't, but my warriors made short work of them. We've completed the quest. We get a little bit of gold, and they get experience, which is even better. Yes, my lord. And next turn we'll bring them up to, I'll probably march them through here next turn to right in this location. Now, we completed our healing spell, and so for mana. Now, with every spell, I didn't go over this in the last turn, but you'd have a casting time. You have your cost, which is up here. We aren't getting a lot of mana right now because I haven't built mana traps or anything that researches further mana per turn. We will want to expand upon that in the future, so we will leave that be for the time being. But you'll also see here that it heals 12 life magic. Now, I know that undeads take damage from life magic, so I haven't played around with it. We'll try it out when we invade Rizewitch here, and we'll see if our healing spell will actually damage them. Now we need to select a new spell. I don't really know what I want. Basic Dispel seems to be a pretty good plan because it gets rid of any enchantments that enemy mages put on you, so I'm going to go with that. We do have the option to take melee or elemental resistance. I think I'm just going to take Basic Dispel though, because if we get ourselves enchanted, it doesn't really go away. There is a maintenance cost, but the enemy seems to have modified mana generation. One thing I've noticed about AI in this game is that it's very similar to Civ, where they seem to come up with resources that they don't actually have. If you sit down and count out their resources, they will actually not have as many as they'll be generating, and so I've noticed that enemy mages can pretty much just spam spells on you just endlessly. Now, Boo has leveled up here. And this was going to be our foodie town. This is the town that's going to be producing a ton of food for us. So let's get a pig farm going right here on these pigs. That's going to give us +6 to our food, which will give us by extra, we'll get an extra 3 gold per turn. If we end up expanding too far, you'll notice that our gold is getting dangerously close to actually being a deficit, which is something that I'd like to avoid. So we're going to stay away from that for now. And that out of the way, he hasn't had orders yet, so we'll just keep him there. We'll hit the F key for all of them. And recruiting is complete. If any of you know whether or not there's actually a permanent defense key that I can hit, that's one thing that I've wondered playing this the last few times. I haven't gone through the keybinds or anything, but if you know, I'd like to put people on defense permanently sometimes. So if that exists, please let me know down in the comments. It would be very, very helpful. Now, we're going to end this turn. There we are, and my rogues are fully healed, so we're going to add them into the battle lines as well. We'll pull them all the way out to over here. There we are, and they're going to go in maybe not first, but they're going to go in second or so. So we'll draw these warriors into here, and that may have been poor planning on my part. There goes those warriors. Maybe I'll draw them back. That's actually, it didn't work out as well as I thought it might. And then we're also going to draw our archers down to this location. They still have a action point left, so we're going to have them bombard the city real fast. And there we are. And this is a great way to level your archers. Attacking cities does provide them with XP as far as I know. So it always seems like you get a lot done. You get a lot of XP over the course of, oh, our non-aggression pact has been broken. So let's hit up Rajak real quick and see if we can renew that. Because the last thing we need is multiple warlike combatants right now. Oh, and he doesn't want to speak to us, so I guess we can't spam that out. But did that help with us at all? His relation is minus 23 now. He envies our leader, it says here, so I guess that means that he's envious of how super awesome we are, which is fine. Haters gonna hate. We're gonna do our thing and we'll just dance our way off the screen here because there's nothing you could do about haters, so let them hate. That's one of the funny things I've found about this whole LP situation is sometimes I get hate mail. Maybe sometimes I don't want to be that kind of person that like posts their hate mail online though, but you do get hate mail from people sometimes, and some of it is humorous. Some of it is very, very humorous. Now let's go up to, we'll bring them up to here, but I think that's going to make them run out of movement points. That's fine though, as long as they're within tacking range of the city. Now one thing I would also like to point out is we can move back through our own ranks and we can move forward through our own ranks, I think. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's just going to hate on us right now. Nothing we can do then. So let's move our rogues up to there and we'll get them a shot in. Now whenever you go to attack somebody, you do want to pay attention to this screen right here at the bottom left. I can't arrow over it unfortunately because, you know, it goes away when I take my clicker off, you see there. But it shows you how much damage you're going to deal, so we're going to deal 4 damage, and they're going to deal 8 back. So they're only going to probably get 1 attack off, and that's going to be due to terrain and other things due to our attacking, but we can pull them out. We can do a pull out real quick after we finish this next turn, so we can draw them out, let them heal, let these guys take their place, and that's going to work just fine, mighty, mighty fine, and our favor. So these guys down here also need to get leveled up, so we're going to give them a little bit extra attack. They're out of movement, though. Who else has not been moved? Oh, we have our settlers. So let's bring our settlers down here. And I think the place that I'm going to take for these settlers is going to be right up here. I don't see any enemies around, so I think I'm going to pitch my tent, as it were, right here on this hill. And that's going to allow me a bunch of hills to generate mana and gold from. So everything that I'm going to basically put gold generation on both of these, and then the rest is all going to be mana generation. And maybe once we expand, we'll be able to get into there. We're already at war with this guy anyway, so why worry about it? He's going to declare on us either way. Everyone doesn't seem to like us so far. That's one thing that I've noticed, but what can you do? So let's skip their turns. We're going to put them all on the defense. Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. I messed up. That was my bad. I think they still had an attack ready to go. These skeletons would have absorbed the attack, unfortunately, so they really wouldn't have dealt much to the city anyways. But that was kind of a mess up on my behalf. Hopefully we don't lose all of our little guys here. Excellent. So we didn't lose anybody there. And now on this turn, we're going to draw them out. So they're going to come back to here, and they're just going to hang out there. They did level up, so let's go through and we'll get them leveled. And we're going to give them a resistance to... yeah, well, let's go with the resistance to missile, because that tends to be what your scouts get hit with anyways. Melee combatants don't seem to catch them very often, but when you're scouting the borders of other people's kingdoms, they do seem to take arrow fire pretty frequently. So I'll put that on the agenda for them. We've also got another building ready to go in our main city. And so I think that puts us at the point. One thing I don't like is you can't waylay building, I don't think. I wish that I could cancel out my building sometimes, because right here I would love to build a barracks right now, or one of these guilds. Actually, let's do the Rogues Guild, because we want to be able to produce many types of troops here. That's going to help us in the long run anyways, because we're not making as much gold as I would like. A nice thing about the Rogues Guild is it actually generates gold for you. So let's place a Rogues Guild. We'll put it out here on one of these nasty little lands that can't do anything anyways. And for the time being, I'm going to resist the urge to produce any more troops. I do want to produce more warriors. It seems like this is going to be a giant melee hoedown for the moment, but I'm going to avoid that. And, well, let's get one. Let's get one little unit queued up, because I would like to have that ready to go. I'm going to have these guys pile into this slot right here and take a swing at the city. Now, you see they forced these guys off of the space, which is good, which means it's going to take a lot more damage. And so let's get a nice little attack in here from all of our surrounding troops. Very, very nice. We're going to have these guys, next turn they're going to retreat, and these guys are going to take their place, so let's get them ready to do that. And I may have just boxed them in, so let's place them right there, just in case. Now we have a couple level ups, so let's take resistance to... not melee, that's not really going to help us. I guess we'll take the XP per turn. Let's take the endurance. I've never been a big fan of XP per turn type deals. Those always seem to screw you in the long run. They seem like they're really cool up front, but they end up not being that cool. Here we're going to give them more melee attack. And who hasn't been... oh, they're ready to go. And so actually, I think if I can plant a flag right here. Hopefully there's no monsters around. I can avoid being too close to his borders, but once this expands twice, it'll go boom, and then it'll go boom. I think we'll still get that silver mine by proxy, and we'll still get that Desert Hills node too. So let's keep that in mind. Oh, there's actually Gorgonwood as a I should have noticed that earlier on. So that's a monster settlement. We really, really, really don't want one of them to take it. We want to take that so that we can get ourselves monsters on our agenda, on our little butcher's bill, as it were. And so I think this is where I'm going to break off the episode. I'm approaching that time limit that I like to be around. So my name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me in this episode 2 of my Warlock Master of the Arcane vanilla playthrough. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you'll choose to join me next time when we go ahead and wage war on our enemies. That's really what I'd like to focus on next time, is we're going to take these guys out. Maybe we'll come over here and take these guys out, although that puts us really close to Rajak. I may just come down here and settle in this region just to give myself a nice concurrent border that runs all the way around. I'd like to get a few more cities in. This is going to be my eastern front. But anyways, before I go off on a massive tangent, I'll see you guys next time. Take care out there, everybody.